summer of 2022. I was in a bad place financially, and I was doing everything possible to look and find a job. I looked on so many websites. I watched YouTube videos that were geared towards finding jobs or had job leads. I was talking to friends, talking to past colleagues, all so that I could put the word out about needing a job. I really thought that I was being really proactive in this quest for a job. I even went to the unemployment office and signed up for like a program that they had where they would try to set you up with different jobs as well. So they had like job leads that they would give you, and then you could apply and so on and so forth. Nothing worked. I was getting upset, I was scared, and I was desperate. It was to the point where I had to start reaching out to all the places where I paid bills. I had to reach out to my landlord, to credit cards, to utility places, all of them, just to let them know what was going on. Then my mood started changing. I was more on edge. I was waking up with dread. Getting a job and paying my bills was the only thing on my mind. It consumed me. And then all of a sudden I just started to feel like I was falling deeper and deeper into this darkness. And I started having all these thoughts that I never had before. And you know what kind of thoughts they were. Mind you, this whole time I had started to begin to deepen my relationship with God. I was watching and listening to sermons online and on podcasts or on apps, and listening to worship music, which I had never done before. And I never did any of those things really before. Every now and then I would catch like a Joel Osteen sermon, but other than that, like I never really paid much attention to it. But this time I was trying to get into it. I was reading the Bible. First of all, I purchased the Bible, which I never thought I'd do before, but I did. And then I started also listening to like faith-based YouTube videos that were kind of like inspirational. And I still felt like lost. I still felt like I was in the wilderness. But I was still holding on to that little mustard seed of faith. Days went by, weeks went by, months went by of me just filling out applications, uploading my resume, reaching out to different people, trying to find a job. And then finally, I ended up getting an interview. I was so excited. It was different than I had ever experienced before. It was basically a platform where they uploaded the questions, the job uploaded the questions, and then I would just speak into my web camera and answer the questions as if I was talking to someone on the other side. And that was weird, but I mean, I hadn't had to look for a job in a minute, so I was like, oh, okay, this is something new. So I did it, and I submitted everything. And the great thing about it is I got hired. So that was super exciting. I felt like, okay, things are starting to change and I can pay things off. So I was excited about getting this job, even though the pay wasn't that good, the hours were long, but I was just happy to get a job. So things were moving along. I was filling out the paperwork. I had my start date, and I was just excited to, finally get back into the workforce and then be able to get a paycheck finally. So the day I was supposed to start, there was supposed to be someone from HR that was supposed to contact me to let me know about the orientation, like what I was supposed to do as far as like, the link, like if there was a Zoom link or something that I was supposed to join or anything. They were supposed to give me all that information, and they never did. So I was freaking out. I was like, Are they gonna think that it's me just not showing up? You know, I thought that it would make me look bad or make me look irresponsible. So I ended up contacting human resources. And what they told me was that the group that I was going to start with, there was no work available, and that was that. So as quickly as I got this job, the work just disappeared. And I didn't understand it. And before you say anything, I did look, I checked to make sure that this was a legit place. I did. I looked to see if it was a legit place. Of course, I had second thoughts after this happened because it happened in such a weird way. And I may, after this video, I may even go check my credit to make sure everything, there's no extra things open on under my social security number. But the way it happened, I was just like, what? This has never happened before. I never started a job, got everything squared away with HR, ready to start that day, just for them to say, there's no work. How is there no work? I didn't understand. So I felt like that character from that movie, Friday, I think his name was Craig. He got fired on his day off. Like, I was like, what? Like, how did it didn't make any sense. Now I can laugh about it, but then I could not laugh about it. This was not funny. Like, I needed to have a job. So I cried and I cried and I cried. And I was like, God, why did you let this happen? What did I do wrong? Like, why is this happening? I was really hurt by that whole experience. But I managed to keep going. I kept filling out applications. I kept submitting my resume, looking in other places, more places, expanding my search, checking LinkedIn, see if there's anything there. Just going on casting a wide net, and see what I can get. And I actually found a website where I was able to apply for a job that I had heard about on one of those YouTube channels. And I was just like, okay, I know that people have worked for them before. This was a work from home kind of situation, and there was good, good reviews about the job. So I was like, okay, let's check it out. They had a position that I thought I would fit nicely into, so I applied. So I heard back, got the interview, and I was excited but nervous. Can I just say that it was the easiest, most comfortable interview I had ever taken in my whole life. And that does not come easy because I am an introvert and I stink at interviews. They are not easy. If you are an introvert, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. I cannot, everything about job searching is doable. It's when you get to that interview that it is like so hard. So for me to say that this interview was comfortable and easy, that means something. So I think that was like a Monday or Tuesday, and I ended up getting offered the job that Wednesday or Thursday. That was a very quick turnaround. And so I filled out the paperwork again, and by the end of the week I had a start date for that following Monday. And it was the quickest turnaround ever that I've ever experienced before. And the best part about it is that it was more money than that job that I had lost, and the hours were flexible. So the way I felt was like that picture that you probably saw on like various different social media places, where it is a picture of Jesus and this little girl, and the little girl has her teddy bear and she's crying. Jesus is asking her for that teddy bear, and I think like the talking bubble said like, but I want it. And meanwhile, the whole time he has like a bigger, better stuffed bear behind his back to give to her. but she won't let that smaller bear go. So that is what I felt after I had gotten this job. I was just like, wait, what? I was so excited that that happened, and I was just like, oh, I see now. I had to lose that other job so that I could have a better job with more pay. And the funny thing is, it was supposed to be a seasonal job, but when I filled it out, I was like, you know what? I just need something. So it was supposed to be a seasonal job, but they ended up keeping me on for not only that season, but an additional year. Now, the thing is, I'm not going to say that that year was, what is it? Gumdrops and no lollipops and unicorns, because it wasn't. That year was still kind of hard, but the thing is, like, God like sustained me even through like those ups and downs. Even before this whole job situation, he was sustaining me. So it came to when my season was ending, and I was just like, oh, I gotta start this whole job search all over again. And no, I did not wait till the actual season ended. I was looking for jobs like before, like a couple months before the season was ending. So I was looking for a job again, filling out applications, uploading resumes, casting a large net, and I found another job. So that December, so it was like the tail end. It was like the season ended, I believe it was like the first or second week of December, and I ended up getting a job interview later on that month. And it was another great interview. I'm telling you, this does not happen to me. This doesn't happen to me. Interviews are so nerve-wracking, but this one, it felt comfortable. So the guy emailed me back and told me that even though it was a great interview and he really thought that I was a great candidate, that the position that they had, again, they were going in groups. They were onboarding groups of people. So the group that I would have fit in, I was like, I would not have been able to start with them and go through the onboarding process with them. So he was like, how about you come with the next group of people? Are you still interested in this job that you would want to start with the next group of people? And I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, that'll be great. So I never had that happen before either, where they want me to still, work for them, just at a later time. But at the time, I was just like, okay, blah, 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 whatever. I'm going to still look for a job. I'm still going to upload my resumes. I'm still going to, check different websites. None of that is going to change just because, this person said that they wanted me to come on, but they just couldn't bring me on at this moment. So like I said, that was in December. And then January, they actually got in contact with me and was like, do you remember interviewing with us? We would like to offer you another interview. So I did not know that this was going to be like a 3 interview process, or 3 or 4 with different people. It was, anyway. And I breezed through all of them. I'm telling you, like I said, this is not typical, but I was able to get through all of them. And I think there was one thing that I had said to the last person, who was going to be not my direct supervisor, but the supervisor above that person. I said something to him in the interview that I think clinched it, that made me even more of a candidate. And then I was, like a day later or 2 days later, I was offered the position. So this job was paid more than the seasonal job, and it also had flexibility. But here's the thing: it's a part-time position, but you can make full-time hours. It's one of those jobs. It's work from home. How amazing is that? That one job that I was going to settle for, God was like, no, something better is coming. So I got that seasonal job. And then the season, when you think about in terms of like seasons, like, oh, everything has a season, that job had a season. It happened to be a year and a few months. But what I'm noticing or learning about seasons is you have to be willing to leave them. Yeah, you have to be willing to leave them. So, and not only because the thing left you, but you have to be willing to leave it as well. So anyway, now this third job, came about, and it's paying more, the hours are better, and there's room for movement. There's room for promotion. And speaking of promotion, within 7 months of getting that job, I got promoted with a raise. And then a month later, I get another raise. I am literally in awe of how this whole thing played out. And it's so funny, like before I end this video, when I was at that seasonal job, every morning I would get up and be kind of queasy because it was a job that I'd never really done before. But I realized, like, after a couple months of like being queasy every day, was that I was like, why am I so queasy? Why am I so queasy? I'm like, God put me here. God gave me this position. Like, there was nothing, like, I was gonna settle for that other job. I was like, you can't tell me that God didn't have a hand in this. Why am I afraid? What am I afraid of? Why am I anxious every morning? And once I realized that, I was like, he put me here, so he knows, or he thinks that I can handle it. So why am I like feeling this way? And after I thought that, or was, giving myself a pep talk, it felt better. Like, I was like, I'm not letting this anxiety like take over me from, experiencing this job. And why should I? I was put here. They didn't hire me. God appointed me here for some reason. And the same thing with the job after that. I was nervous and queasy, and I'm just like, girl, you had no hand in this. You were put here for a reason. Why are you so nervous? Like, you are okay. Like, just steward this position very, well. Show up as if you are showing up for God every day. Now, tell me, did God show up and did he show out? I have to tell this testimony because in the depth of the darkness that I was in, I still held on to that little mustard seed of faith that my breakthrough was coming, and it did. And I'm so grateful and thankful for grace and mercy every single day that's renewed. And I just want to give someone else that testimony, because I do believe that our stories are not just for us, that they are for other people. So I really hope that this story has given you hope if you are in the same place that I was. And I want you to find that little mustard seed of faith to know that your breakthrough is coming as well. So keep your head up, keep praying, and just know that your time is coming too. So please like and subscribe for more faith walking content, and I'll see you in the next one.